No choice. No choice. Guilty as charged. I had to get the Sperry Docksiders. I mean, I'm a boater. That's what you have to wear. So everybody knows. Yeah. Yes, I know. Another Sea Ray. I'm sorry. But yeah, we're dealing with a new era now. This is the one where they decided they were no longer going to be the leader in mid-level and declare they were upmarket. I told you I was saving this for another day, so we're here. While Sea Ray was churning its mid-level brand Sundancer throughout the 80s and early 90s, with fair success, something very odd began to unfold starting in the mid-90s. With their success, Sea Ray began bringing larger-scale Sundancers, with their flagship being a 63-foot. They've built bigger since then, but oddly nothing really hit as hard as that 63 from the 90s. These larger boats were instantly well received, kind of like when Apple decided to launch the iPhone. There was hardly even any question. It was all,
Screw BlackBerry, I want a phone from a company who's never made a phone before.
and there suddenly was this status element that got tied to the brand. And well, that status trickles down throughout an entire lineup. Status for some trumps all. Just like how people who were too broke to buy an iPhone or even an iPod bought the ridiculously overpriced Apple Shuffle just because they wanted in on it. Remember that stupid little piece of useless crap? Oh, cool, I can pin a $10 geek stick with a play button on my shirt and proudly display the Apple logo. Woohoo, that's worth $100. With this fantastic brand, Status Sea Ray had created a Me Too movement. No, not the feminist Me Too movement. Look, it was an accident. And for the millionth time, Stacy, just because my hand bumped into your ass doesn't make it harassment. It was an accident. The fact I liked it and treasured the moment doesn't mean it was on purpose, and I'm like, kind of sorry and stuff. Hashtag it's complicated. This 2003 model was really the start of styling cues that are still kind of prevalent on the current generation, with this swept shear line wrapping into the stern that's become more and more prevalent in the designs over the years. Almost like how the fins of the late 50s American cars started to grow bigger and bigger over the years. It was a welcome reset button in a line that really was starting to tire, especially as Brunswick just kept playing its numbers game with the size, as usual, and suddenly using a shorter ruler over the years to measure these things out. Also, as most cruisers were all following a pretty similar form, this instantly gave Sea Ray the upper hand as they took a step forward ahead of their competition. But now they had something even stronger going. The status. How important is it? People who know next to nothing about boats know that Sea Ray brand and will actually brag to me about how their friend has a Sundancer. In their minds, it's the cream of the crop. It's the premium. And Brunswick knew what they had. They were sure of it. They were more than happy to sit back with confidence in their product line and just let it roll. They put their feet up on the desk, and you know what? It worked. It seems like a setup for failure, but oddly it just didn't. It was a label now. I mean, people pay too much for clothing they don't like, just to impress. And the Sea Ray name now had this prestige as well. And that's the beauty of it all for Sea Ray. It's a designer label. No one even cares that it's boringly beige or how it's built. It doesn't have to be the best built boat. The masses aren't interested in that. I think I proved that point with a Marinette video. Now that's not to say this boat isn't built well. That's not the point I'm trying to make. In fact, I don't see any blaringly obvious quality issues. I mean, sure, it's still using traditional build methods with cord decks and boxed-in stringers that they just love, but it's still a mass-produced boat, and there are some design quirks. As with most of the Sundancer line, the whole lineup uses this sliding scale to give resemblance to the siblings. However, on this particular one, they took it a little too literal and actually scaled the seating. No, I mean like literally the seating got smaller with the boat. So the seats are a bit too low, a little too short, and not really comfortable for anyone over 6 foot tall. And this whole flip and fuck thing is a tad strange. This portside bench is great for sitting around at the dock, but who wants to sit in a boat side saddle style, staring at the cockpit? It sucks. That said, this cockpit layout is heads and tails above the old original 80s Sundancers. And yeah, Sea Ray learned their lessons over the years. No more giant leaking windows cut into the deck. Better driver ergonomics, gel coat line cockpits, easy bow access. There's some clever bits to this boat too. I love the little hinged feet on the rear bench so you don't have to dick with the seating just to raise up the engine hatch. or the small drains around the windshield frame, accepting that, yeah, it's probably going to have a leak, so let's make sure the water runs out instead of in. And while I'm not a fan of cave-like cabins with almost no natural light, I get why they did it. Finally, no more leaks staining your headliner that just about every Sea Ray from the 80s and early 90s deals with. And you gotta appreciate how much light comes through this hatch. It's amazing, and it's just one hatch and it lights the whole thing up. Probably because there are no dark colors in here to suck all the light out. In fact, now I'm looking, there's no colors at all. Like anywhere, or wood grain, or texture, or contrast. You know what? This is downright dreary. I mean, yes, I know we love to poke fun at turquoise and pink stripes or square teak line edges all over the place, but while those trends are dated, they were fashionable at the time, and you gotta appreciate that back then they at least went for it. In what era was sterile nothing but shades of beige considered eloquent? I was there in 2003. It wasn't. I mean, the interior is about as exciting as a line of filing cabinets from Office Depot. Did anybody really miss the 70s that much? Or that era of
Beige. Beige. Beige.
Man, that's the joke that just keeps on giving. I mean, the materials are nice, but it's almost as if the design department accidentally photographed their mock-up in black and white, and some poor lost exec just rubber stamped the approval because, who cares, as long as it says Sundancer on the side. It basically worked because it's a Sea Ray Sundancer. It's fancy. It's the best. It's luxury. It doesn't matter if I'm a fan of the styling, just so everybody sees what I'm driving. Is it worthy of the price tag? Actually, yeah, it is. Sure, the cabin feels like a doctor's office. The seating is a bit of a failed attempt to be clever. It's got its high points for sure, and while I tease, this line of boats sets a very important benchmark. Resale, baby, and it's not just about the amount, but the ease of it. You can buy just about any era of Sundancer and have a wonderful, cozy feeling that future buyers are going to lean your way first. Because at the end of the day, buyers get this sense of security from familiarity. New boaters who know next to nothing about boats know that name.
I remember Tom had a Sundancer. It was a great boat, even though it's the only cruiser boat I've ever been on.
Doesn't matter if the sense of security is false or not or justified. And I'm not saying everyone who buys a Sundancer only buys it because of the familiarity or the comfort or because they don't know anything better. But it's like McDonald's, Samsung, or Toyota. But for some, even with this contrived label that gets viewed more as Apple, Mercedes, or J. Crew, you probably don't even know if you like it best, but you trust it. It's comfortable. It's cozy. It's the safe bet, and man, there's something powerful about that. When you pull away from that dock, you just straight need that trust that it's going to be all okay. And you're not going to second guess any decisions, even one as simple as which brand you purchased.